What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the channel and welcome back to the channel. So I'm back again. First of all, I cannot believe it's about to be 2025. Isn't that crazy, y'all? This year has gone by fast. Oh my goodness. But first, you guys read the title of this video. I first want to start off with some books that I DNF'd. I was kind of conflicted on adding books that I DNF'd because, I didn't give it a fair shake. I didn't read it all the way through, but I'm going to add them anyway. So the first book that I did not finish was Slewfoot. The book was promising, there was some interactions with the main character and her husband that I enjoyed, and her brother-in-law. But once that went away, it just started going to left field for me. I found myself starting to skim the book. It just took me out of it. I don't know what it was. Maybe just the writing. Maybe it's just some of the names in the book that, as I'm reading it, it's like, man, it's like work trying to get through this. I do not want to read something that it feels like work. I want to read something that I'll enjoy and it'll give me that escapism. I like stuff about witches and stuff. I was hoping this book would be like the movie The Witch. I don't know if you guys seen it. It came out about maybe almost 10 years ago with Anya Taylor-Joy, but this book just didn't do anything for me. So Slewfoot, DNF. This next one is going to be controversial because a lot of people enjoyed this, and this is Butcher and Blackbird. I saw a lot of people talking about it on YouTube or BookTube. I gave it a shot. It just didn't do nothing for me. I didn't like the interactions between the two main characters. The killer couple, I should say, just didn't do nothing. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. And the next book is Pen Pal. So I've told you guys before that I like to read a lot of horror books, and this book right here was not scary at all. This was tough too. This is another thing, if it just doesn't pull me in within the first couple chapters, I'm not gonna keep reading, and this is one of them. This was boring as hell. It's just the worst for me to get books that are told to me like this is just creepy and scary. This wasn't it. Sorry. I have another one, or actually two more books that I DNF'd, and one was from, actually one I read through Audible, and that was Nosferatu by Joe Hill. I've read Joe Hill's stuff before. He does comics as well as books, so I read some of his comics, and I thought they were pretty good. But Nosferatu, man, that book was crazy. It was all over the place. I just couldn't follow the back and forth with different characters. Charlie Minx and the little boy that he has working with him. It was just too crazy and outlandish for me. I heard there's a show on, I don't know what network, but I don't know, maybe that show is better than the book, but I couldn't finish it. Sorry. And the last book that I don't have right now is The House of the Last Resort. So I got that book from the library, and I was compelled to read it because, I want to support my library, but I should have DNF'd it. The House of the Last Resort felt like I was reading a vacation travel channel book. It was labeled as a horror book, and it was just about people talking about the house that they bought in Italy, how it was this old house, and man, it was just bad. It kind of went somewhere a little bit when it said that their home was on some land that, I should say, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, their house was on some catacombs, and once we found that out about the catacombs, I started getting interested. But from there, it just went downhill. But if you guys ever heard of House or Last House of Resort, check that book out, and I want to know your opinion on that, because I know I'm not alone on this. This book was boring, very, very boring. So I want to say don't waste your time on it, but I can't tell you that. I don't want to disrespect the author like that. People like different things, so I never want to persuade anybody, but that book to me was boring as hell. So enough of that. The next book is House Across the Lake by R. Seger. So this is the first book that I read from R. Seger, and I was disappointed in this. This book started out good, It was like a thriller. It was like, man, where's this going? And all of a sudden, in the middle of the book, it changes genres into supernatural. And when it changed the genre, downhill, But I don't want to say this is one of the worst books, but I'll put this disappointing. It's not bad, it's just disappointing, It didn't stick to landing, and that's the worst to me. So enough of this one. And this book right here, I read just maybe a couple weeks ago and finished it. Man, I was so excited to get into this book, Incidents Around the House by Josh Malerman. This is the same guy that did Bird Box. So I don't know if y'all seen the movie on Netflix or read the book, but I actually liked the movie. But this book right here, y'all, I was so disappointed. The premise is set up so well. You have some, I don't know if it's evil force, but maybe ancient force. It's kind of like a ghost-like creature that's in this girl's closet. And, she talks to this girl all the time. The main character in the book is a little girl. And I'm forgetting her name at the time. Anyway, this malevolent force is talking to this girl in her closet, and she keeps saying, "Can I go into your heart?" And how can I explain this without spoiling it? But anyway, it starts to haunt, the mother and the father. And the mother and father are already arguing. They got issues with their marriage. So it starts affecting the family where they have to leave the house and everything, But the landing in this book did not stick. So disappointing. I got 3 more, y'all. So this next one is The Haunting of House Blackwood. This is another disappointing book. I love some haunted house stories, but the main protagonist, female, she just does the dumbest things. Why in the world would you go into a house that is said to be haunted and do not prepare yourself? She goes there with she spends the night with her phone about to die when the house doesn't even have any power yet. What else does she do that's stupid? She just, she knows that the house isn't even set up yet, and she just wants to move in right away, because everybody's telling her that, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do this, but she doesn't listen to anybody else. Her boyfriend she doesn't listen to. Her boyfriend says a lot of things that make sense, but, she disregards everything he says until she finds out later, that she should have listened to him. So, dumb protagonist. All right, I think this is the first book that I read from Lisa Unger, and this is Secluded Cabin, Sleep 6. So this is a thriller, y'all, but the problem with this book, in my opinion, is the different point of view of certain characters. And the character of this book, one of the male characters, I think his name is Peter. It's been a while since I read this. So Peter, once his point of view comes out, it just takes me out of the book. It's so boring. And then there's a reason why, it switches back and forth, because at first you're like, why is this dude Peter even in this book? And then later in the book, everything connects. But once Peter's POV start, I just immediately start skimming them because they were so boring. But that's enough of this one. And the last one, y'all, the last one of the disappointed books for me in 2024 was It Ends With Us. So there's a lot of things going on with this book that I already know about going into it, but I just want to see, is everybody tripping? Some people like this, but a lot of people hate this book. And plus, another reason why I wanted to read this, there was a movie out, around the time that I read this. So I wanted to get through this book and then see how the movie was and see the differences from the book to the movie. And there was differences, and I think the movie did a lot of things better because some of the dialogue in the book need to be thrown in the trash. The sex scenes were bad in the book. There was some violent content that was in the book that it wasn't shown in the movie because I think the movie was trying to be a little more kid friendly. They want to show it to the masses. They don't want to take anybody or take anything away from their getting their money. But you should look up there's a lot of controversy about the main actress in the movie, Megan Lively, how she went about to promote this book. It was kind of cringe, and her and the director kind of like bump heads. The director was in the movie too. He was the main character, male character in the movie. So just look up the controversy of Blake Lively, and It Ends With Us. It's kind of interesting, y'all. And this is the last of the worst for me. All right, now, so we're going to get into, in my opinion, what was the best of 2024 that I read. So first, I want to talk about 2 books that I got from the dollar store that was really shocking. So the first book is The Lies I Tell. So again, I went to, not the dollar store, excuse me, the Dollar Tree. So I went to Dollar Tree and got this, and I judged the book by its cover. I thought the book was going to be smut. I'm not really into smut or romance stuff like that or whatever, but it was nothing like that. Pretty much is about a con artist. This is a female protagonist, and she's pretty much a con artist, but she's conning a lot of males to, I guess, get back at one particular individual that messed her over. He kind of messed her mom and her and kind of took the house from them, but it's more to it than that. But she goes into a lot of what's the word I'm looking for, she does a lot of things to trick people to get what she wants. So this is good, y'all, and you guys need to check out the Dollar Tree for books. Save your money. You can buy a good book for like $1.30 plus tax, $1.30 plus tax. Good book like this. What's the cover price on this? It's probably like $20. So, cover price on this is $27.99. So I only paid $1 for this. You can't beat that. The second dollar store or Dollar Tree book that I got is An Unsettled Grave, and this is a gumshoe type of book. I really enjoyed this. I didn't have my hopes up for this. I was just, just gonna read it, take a chance, and man, this is good, y'all. So this is a hidden gem. If you ever go to the Dollar Tree and you see this, get Unsettled Grave. You will not be disappointed. All right, this is gonna be from R. Sager again, and this is Middle of the Night. So the reason why I enjoyed this is because, the protagonist and myself are around the same age. We're in our 40s, so This book brought back a lot of nostalgia, about a young boy in the 80s and the things that's going on in his little cul-de-sac. So I kind of enjoyed that. Um, this is not going to be for everybody, you know. It's a kidnapping book. Um, the main character and his friend are in this tent when they're younger, like around 6 or 7, and his friend gets kidnapped, and it just starts a trickle effect of things that go on, and the kidnapping really affects the main character's life, as he gets older. So when he's older, he moves back into his hometown, and he moves back into his old house, and he starts to kind of do investigations of what's been going on. So, but y'all check this out. This is one of my best of 2024. All right. I'm just going to show these because I always talk about these two books. These two books are a win for me. I talk about them all the time, so I'm not going to go into detail, but y'all check these out. Let me at least say the title: Tenders of Flesh and The Teacher. So, some of these books that I'm about to get into are kind of not for the faint of heart. So I've talked to you guys about this book plenty of times, Into the Wolf's Den. So I'm not going to go into detail, but it's good. But you got to have a strong stomach and be prepared for the worst. But it's not. Sometimes I think I draw people away from this book when I talk about it. But just think of Taken. I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie Taken, but just think of Taken with a little bit of Hostel in it. So you see where I'm coming from. All right. So let's go play at the Adams. And this book right here is not going to be for everybody because it has lots of triggers in it. And basically, a 20-year-old woman, she has to take care of some rich kids. I think it's about, it's been a while, so I'm losing my memory. I think it's about 4 kids, maybe 2 boys and 2 girls, or maybe 3 boys and 1 girl. I can't remember, but they're different ages. The oldest boy is a teenager, so sometimes rich kids do bad things, so they get into this. They do this little game where they tie up the babysitter, and once they do that, certain things happen, and I don't want to go into detail because it's pretty graphic, but it's a good book. But like I said, it's not for everybody. I enjoyed it, but yeah, check this out if you can, y'all. All right, the last book that I'm gonna talk about that has a lot of sensitive and touchy trigger warnings, and this is Gone to See the Riverman. So this right here was probably the scariest book that I read, in my opinion, of all the horror novels that I've read, because it takes you into the woods where the characters, they see some unsettling things, and it kind of creeped me out a lot. Also, the main character of this book is a piece of shit, so you're not gonna like her. Some of the things she does to her family is ridiculous and terrible. But with that being said, it's still a good book, y'all. Check this out. All right, I've talked about this book before a lot, and this is They Never Learn. So like I said before, picture Dexter, the TV show that's on Showtime. I think it's on Paramount Plus now. They had got a new show, but think of Dexter, but female version, that kind of goes after men that she thinks is doing women wrong. And man, I enjoyed this book so much. I don't think I have the top book of the year, but this is probably going to be at the top for me, just because it blends in a lot of things that I like. I don't know why. It always seems like a female that's a hot mess, you know. It entertains me. All right, down to 2 more, y'all. So this book right here is The Number One Lawyer by James Patterson and Nancy Allen. So this is a courtroom drama. Sometimes I like them. I think the last courtroom drama that I read this is a while ago, maybe a couple years ago, and it was by, I think it was Tom Clancy. I'm not sure. Was it Tom Clancy? I don't know. I might get the author wrong. It was the book was called The Rooster Bar, and it was about, you know, a bunch of lawyers trying to make it and whatnot. But anyway, so The Number One Lawyer, this is pretty good. It has some triggers too, you know, but this guy is like the best lawyer in Mississippi. You know, he wins cases that you never think he could win until, you know, something happens to him, and then he kind of gets in trouble himself. So, you know, like he goes to jail, then his friends want to get a lawyer for him, but he said, nope, I'm the best lawyer around, so I'm gonna represent myself and get my own self out of trouble. So that's just a part of it. But this book right here is a good book, y'all, so check it out. All right, I'm at the end. I try not to drag this out, and this is probably the most controversial book because a lot of people hate this and a lot of people like this, but I guess that's just, you know, books. So this is The Silent Patient, and I enjoyed it. At first, you know, when I read it, it's like, man, this is a little slow. And there's just some things that I picked up on, you know. The author puts a lot of Greek mythology in this book. You know, he says a couple things that, you know, sticks in your mind. It's like, why are you talking about this person in Greek mythology? And then some of the characters do certain things that comes back to what he mentioned in Greek mythology. He's like, oh man, that's crazy. Because in the beginning, it starts off with a bang, like a big bang, like murder, you know, all kind of gruesomeness. And then as the book goes along, it's like kind of mid, you know, it's nothing exciting. And then certain things, you know, stick in your head. And then at the end, it's like, damn, you go back to the beginning. It's like, oh, I see why this happened now, you know? So that's why I like the book. I like to be thrown off. You know, if a book, you know, throws me off, and I think it's going to happen one way, and then I look at it, it's like, damn, look at that twist. That twist is amazing. So this was it, y'all. I loved it. But I'm trying to think if there's anything that I had forgotten. I'll probably add it in here, you know, as a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Honorable mention. You know, I'll probably put The Boyfriend on there. Boyfriend has some good twists too. Yeah, the end kind of messed me up, but actually, the ending of The Boyfriend, I was kind of let down because, no, I can't even say that. You know, I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but The Boyfriend was good by Freida McFadden, but the ending, I don't think it should have been in there. It was too much. But anyway, that's all the books that I got. I showed you some books that I DNF, some books that are disappointing to me, and some books that I enjoyed. And another shout out to the Dollar Tree. Always check out the Dollar Tree. And pretty soon, y'all, I'm gonna head to my local Goodwill. I'm gonna see what kind of books they got there. I never did a Goodwill haul yet, so that's coming soon, y'all. But I'm gonna end this video here. I appreciate you guys sticking to the end. Peace.
Ayy, I got the recipe, never gonna let any out get the best of me. Thought it was distance, but haters is next to me. Talk to the spirit, you know I've been heavenly. Company definitely show your trajectory. This ain't a diss cause I say